So today I get a chance to make my wife feel nervous, right? Which doesn't happen that often. What we're going to talk about is the core. And you might think that, in the middle of all these sessions, why are we talking about fitness? Yeah, someone is not on mute, and it's very interesting to listen to their conversation. So today what we're going to talk about is the core. And, you know, I love cooking, and I just brought this to show, what is core? Core is what is inside. That's the core of anything. What lies inside? This onion, it's got layers and layers, and right at the center, there's this white part. So what's at the center or at the heart inside anything is the core. A business has some core principles, and many things in the business may change. Technology may change, products may change, the organization may change, but as long as the core is strong, the business will keep doing something. Like when I was a student, I was one of those last minute type of students. And my funda was कि यार कोई भी subject में can I understand the core principles? Can I understand the exactly how a subject works or a topic? I would try to understand deep, in deep. Just a few core principles, and then everything else kind of evolves. And I think in our lives also, we have some core beliefs. How I think about myself. Do I feel that I am good enough, or do I feel that I'm not good enough? It's a core belief, and everything kind of falls around that. That's why I think from time to time we should question our core beliefs, and we also have some core relationships. I really believe that if a few core relationships in my life are strong, then everything else, it may come and go like a storm, but I will still have that strength to stay strong. And same way with our body. I think one of the things that stops us from being able to do all the things that we want to in our life, and stops us from being able to learn and spend quality time with our people, is just that we get tired, and then we want to slouch, and then we want to just lie down. It has to do with the core. So enough of Gyan from my side. I'm going to now invite my core, Aarti, to talk about core strength.
Okay. The presentation? Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So Aditya's really got me to break some serious comfort zones here. Normally he's in front of the screen and I'm happy to be in the background. But yeah, let's get down to what I really enjoy talking about and what's my passion, the core of our body. So why is a strong core so important? I'm going to break some myths about what is the core, what are our core muscles. So strong core is really important because it helps us sit straighter, it helps us stand taller, it helps us walk and run better. It even helps our digestion. It helps us to breathe deeper, and through the deep breathing, it definitely helps in reducing our stress levels. So in all my years of training, whenever I've asked a client that what are your core muscles, the first thing they point to is the abdominal muscles. Now, abdominal muscles are part of the core, but that's not the entire core. So very often a person can have a six pack and still have a very weak core. So our six pack muscles are our more superficial muscles, which we call as a rectus abdominis. And you can have a really strong rectus abdominis, but you can still have a very, very weak core. So what exactly are these core muscles? So I'm going to show you this little chap over here. I call him Skallu. And through his skeleton, I'm going to help you understand where the core muscles are. So I want you to visualize the core like a cylinder inside your body. Okay, so we have a top of the cylinder, we have a bottom, we have a front and the back. So the top of the cylinder is inside around your rib cage area here. It kind of is a circle inside your rib cage, and that's called your diaphragm. It's your breathing muscle. So top of the core forms your diaphragm. The bottom of the core is inside this area, inside your pelvic floor. This is your pelvis, and inside your pelvis is the pelvic floor muscles, and that forms the bottom of the core. So the top of your core is your diaphragm, the bottom is the pelvis. The front of your core is your deepest abdominal muscles, which is called the transverse abdominis. So it forms the front, it also forms the side of your core muscles. And the back of your core is your deepest spinal muscles, which goes along your spinal cord, which is called the multifidus. So when all of these work in unison and your cylinder is strong from all sides, you have a very good intra-abdominal pressure, which is formed like a can, which is full, and that forms a strong core. So that is the deepest muscles which are around your spine, and they work on keeping you strong, upright. They assist in all your movements. So has everyone understood the concept of what the core muscles are? It's your deepest abdominal muscles, deepest spinal muscles, your diaphragm on the top, and your pelvic floor right underneath. Now this shows you an image of a strong and stable core and what happens when your core is weak. So when your core is strong, it assists in everything you do, whether you're pushing, you're pulling, you're standing up, you're sitting down, you're jumping. It's like your powerhouse from where you get all the energy. But when your core is weak, then you can easily get injured, damaged, postural instabilities that shows with the can on both sides. So how does one work the core? How do we get the core to be strong? So the core muscles actually are working all the time. It's not like a bicep curl when you actually just move the bicep. The core muscles are working when I'm sitting just now. They work when I'm standing. They work when I'm walking. But they work the best and they fire the best when I'm in what is called as a neutral alignment or the perfect alignment of my body. When I'm in an incorrect posture, my core tends to switch off or is a little less efficient. So our aim today is going to teach you how to be in that perfect neutral alignment, especially while we're standing. We have this perfect alignment when we're standing, when we're lying down, when we're sitting, when we're kneeling. We can't get into all these postures today, but if you understand the standing posture right, automatically you will be able to translate into other ways. So from this image, you can get a side view of what is a perfect alignment. So when we go for our Pilates courses, you actually sometimes hold a strong string to your side of your body and it just falls straight down. So a perfect alignment when you're standing is where if you have a straight line from the side of your ear to the top of your shoulder, to the side of your hip, to the center of your hip, to the center of your knee, and to that bony part in your ankle. So when you have a straight line happening all the way there, that's what is called your neutral alignment. And when you're standing in neutral, when you're walking in neutral, when you're lifting in neutral, automatically your core muscles are working at their best, at their optimum. If you see the next image, the woman has her neck slightly jutting forward and she has a little bit of an arch even in her pelvis. Her pelvis is slightly swaying forward. So that is called a little bit of a sway back posture. Over there, what's happening is there'll be a tightness in her neck. Her pelvis muscles are taking over more. And because of that, the core switches off a little bit. So we are going to really focus on what is this perfect neutral alignment and how can we get our body to get into a habit of working from there. Okay, so what are the signs of a weak core? Before we get into how to get in that strong core posture, let's understand that do we have a weak core? So one of the signs is feet and wrist pain. So now why would our feet and wrist hurt if our core is weak? So what it does is our core is like, as I said, the powerhouse of our body. When we have a strong core, it takes a lot of the load of all our activities. It actually powers and strengthens our other activities. So when you have a strong core and you go for a run, a lot of the impact is absorbed by your center. Similarly, if you're doing a push-up, if your core is strong, you're definitely, of course, working your pectorals and your triceps, but your core takes a lot of the load. Similarly, if you're doing a squat, and if your core is strong, the squat takes the core muscles take off the load from the knee joint. So joint pains is a very clear giveaway that something your core is not taking on the load and your joints are taking on a lot more of the load. So just be aware when you're working out. Are your feet hurting when you go for a long walk? Is your wrist in pain after you've done a little bit of an upper body workout? Are your knees hurting if you've done squats and lunges? That means your core is not taking on enough of the impact. Another sign is poor balance. So let's all try a very simple balance test just now. You're all sitting down, I'm sure, on your beds or on your chair. Can you stand up without using your arms? Can everyone just stand up once without any support of the arms? And sit down with a lot of control without using your arms again. Again, sit down. Let's do that one more time. Let's stand up. And let's sit down. Okay, so if that was easy for most of us, that's a really good sign. So we do have our basic core muscles switched on and working. Now, if that was easy, the next level is, I would say, take a low stool and do the same movement. Stand up and sit down on a low stool without using your arms. Once you master that, the ideal test of a good, strong core is if you can go all the way down to a sitting position and stand up without pushing up from your hands. Another test, which I'm going to make you all do just now, is called the balanced closed eye test. So I want everyone to stand up once again. I'm going to do it with y'all. Stand on your right leg or whichever is your dominant leg. Lift the left leg off the ground. Take your arms out to the side. I'm going to count up till 10. And we're going to stand in this position with your eyes closed. Ready? Start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Down. Okay, so if you can do up to about 10 seconds, that's again a sign of a decent core. But if you can't, that's your point of testing. Keep doing this every day and build up to it. Start with 5 seconds, build up to 10. Okay, and build up from that. So these are 2 tests which you can do in the beginning to test how strong is your core. This core balance is definitely a sign of a weak core. The third sign of a weak core is lower back pain. So your core muscles are like the corset which is around your spine and protects your spine along the length of the spine. But when that corset is weak and it's loose, automatically your spine does not get enough support. Then our spine keeps moving out in different positions when we bend down, when we extend up, and it's very easy to get injured when that corset around it is not strong enough. And that's why lower back pain again is a sign of a weak core. Shallow breathing and increased levels of stress and fatigue. So when our core is weak, as I said, our diaphragm is the top of our core. This is the muscle right inside your rib over here. So when your diaphragm, when your core is weak, invariably your posture takes a toll on that. So your sitting posture becomes very rounded and very curved. And when your sitting posture is curved, automatically there's much less space inside for your lungs and for your diaphragm to move. When you move, when you breathe, your diaphragm goes down, and when you exhale, it goes up. So that movement of the diaphragm is what helps in a deep breathing. But very often when our posture is bad, we end up curving our spine and slouching, and our breathing becomes much more shallow. When our breathing is shallow, the amount of oxygen that reaches our brain and reaches our joints and our muscles is much less, which causes deep levels of fatigue and stress. Another effect of a weak core muscle is the reverse of a slouch. It's called a rib flare, where our ribs lift upwards and backwards, and we end up shrugging our shoulders. So very often we'll notice when we're stressed, we tend to be in this position. When people are stressed, very often their biggest complaint is my shoulders are hurting, my neck muscles are hurting. And that's because of shallow breathing and a rib flare like this. And that's what causes also bigger and increases your stress levels. You may already be stressed about something, but because your core is not supporting your body, your breathing becomes more shallow and you increase your stress levels through that. All right, so now we've been talking about let's get that neutral position right. Before I teach you all what is your ideal standing position, I'm going to show you all what are the common misalignments I've noticed that happens with us when we're just standing regularly, and that becomes a part of our body. And when we keep repeating a misalignment in our body, it becomes part of our structure. And then that regular incorrect posture, incorrect alignment, then can cause injuries in the long run. So I'm going to stand a little further behind. I'm going to try and talk as loudly as I can. If you can't hear me, just tell Aditya. And I'm going to show you first the incorrect alignment. When I show you the correct alignment, I would like all of you to join me for that part of it. Everyone can see the full length. So we're going to start with our feet. Now, feet is our first point of impact with the ground. When our feet are not aligned, the way the forces of gravity travel upwards will also not be correct. So landing correctly on our feet is very, very important. So very often our feet can be turned inwards, our feet can be turned outwards. So we want to have our feet aligned. I will show you how later. Similarly with our knees. If our knees are turned in, if our knees are turned out, if our knees are locked, again the forces of gravity which travel upwards will cause injury in our body. Next we go on to our pelvis. We need our pelvis to be as stable as possible, but a very common standing posture for most of us is this way. This is our comfort standing. Just imagine if all the time we're standing this way, this muscle is completely stretched, this muscle is completely loose. This is always going to be much stronger and tighter, and this is going to be weaker. Now, if we don't change sides and we always have a dominant side, which most of us have, in the long run, that can cause some severe injuries. Similarly with our spine, a lot of us tend to be in this position where our spine has this big arch. Imagine what's happening to your back over here. It's a big arch. All this is very tight. All this is overstretched, and an overstretched muscle invariably is weak. So your abdominal muscles tend to get weak when they're in this posture, and this gets very tight, and that causes lower back pain. Similarly, there's also people who have this kind of a posture where your back is flat, but all this is tight. You have very strong, tight abdominal muscles and a weak lower back. You have a rib flare where the ribs are stretched out. You have a forward neck posture, which can cause a lot of strain in the neck and shoulders. So these are some common misalignments, and a lot of them happen because of work situations. We're on a desk all day, certain sports we may play, just lifestyle habits. So let's work on how can we be in a perfect neutral. Am I loud enough? All right. So can everyone stand up? And join me for this.
All right, time to stand up and get a little active.
Mishri, I can't see you standing.
We can see you. Turn your video on so in case there's a little guidance that could be given, maybe that's possible.
All right. So everyone stand, and when you're standing, I want you to think of these 3 points under your feet. So basically, near the balls of your feet and at the base of your heel. These 3 points, and draw a triangle. Can you all see that little triangle I have happening here? When you're standing, you're thinking of equal weight on those 3 points of the triangle. So your body weight is not forward, it's not leaning back, it's not inwards, and it's not outwards. It's bang in the center of that triangle. Is that clear for everyone? Yeah, awesome. Okay, next I want you to draw a straight line up from your between your second and third toe up to your knees. So with your fingers, draw a line which comes between your second and third toe to your knees. Now that is the angle which your knees should be tracking with. When I say knees tracking with your toes, ideally your knees, when you draw a straight line from your knees to your toes, your knees, the center of your knee should be between your second and your third toe for perfect pressure when you step. If your knees are not tracking that way, you can end up with knee problems. So you want your knees to be tracking with your second and third toe. Then you go further up that line, and I want everyone to find these 2 bony hip joints of yours. In Skallu, sorry, these are the bones. Can you find these 2 bones of yours? In technical terms, they call your ASIS, but we're going to call them your headlights. Okay, so everyone find your headlights. Yeah, even if you have a big stomach, you can still find them. Right? Now I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me better. Imagine there's light coming out of those 2 points. Okay, now I'm going to come a little closer, I think, so you can see. Imagine there's light coming out from those 2 bones. When I turn my hips down, the lights angle downwards. Can everyone turn their headlights down so you get that big arch in your spine and your pelvis is turned down? Now I'm going to turn the headlights up, and my spine flattens and my pelvis is turned up. It's very like a Govinda dance step, but play along with me. Now let's do this a couple of times. Turn your headlights down, turn your headlights up. Try not to move your upper body. You're trying just to only isolate the pelvis. Now, neutral pelvis is the point where your headlights are parallel to the ground, but it's a really good lower back exercise to just do this tilt back and forth of just the pelvis. It activates all the muscles of the lower spine. But the ideal neutral pelvis is where you find the point in between your extreme arch and the extreme turn up. Okay. Has everyone understood their neutral pelvis position? Yeah? Okay. Next, we're going to learn how to activate our deep abdominal muscles. So I want you to put your thumb into your belly button and think of 4 fingers lower than that. So this area, which is just in line actually with those headlights, imagine you're wearing a belt over there. Now I want you to activate those belt muscles. I don't want you pulling your abs. I want you to pull in the muscles over here, your lower, deep lower abdominal muscles. So imagine you're wearing a belt and I'm telling you to pull it as tight as you can, and you're wearing it on the tightest notch, which is 100. So everyone really squeeze in tight to 100. And now release it halfway to a 50 and release it all the way. Once again, can you pull in your belt muscles all the way, really tight up to 100, halfway to a 50, and all the way to a 0. We're going to do it one last time. Can you pull in all the way to 100, release it to a 50, and now you're going to release it halfway of the 50. So it's just a very mild contraction, 25% of that contraction. So all you're doing is pulling your belly away from the t-shirt. It's not a tight squeeze. The mistake most people make, I've noticed in gyms, is pull your belly in, pull your belly in. What people are doing is you're pulling in your abdominal muscles, which is not your deep core muscles. When you pull in this muscle very mildly, just below your belly button, near your headlights, that is your deep core muscles which you activate. So when you're exercising, when you're lifting weights, if you can keep that very mild contraction happening over there, that's when your spine will have a good protection. Next, we're going to move on to the rib placement. Now, an ideal posture, your ribs are placed over your pelvis. So now, again, I'm going to go to the side. This is where my ribs are flaring. This is my rib cage and it's way away from my pelvis. This is a posture, can you see? And then my ribs are placed over my pelvis. So imagine you have a spring over here. When I open that spring, my ribs flare. When I close that spring, my ribs are slouching. I want to find that in-between posture, which is called as your perfect rib alignment. So as you can see in Skallu again, this is where the ribs are placed over the pelvis. If the ribs are going upwards and the pelvis goes behind, that's called a rib flare. So a very common place where this happens is when people are doing weight training, they tend to be in this posture and work out. So when you do this, what's happening is you're totally shutting off your core. But if you can do the same exercise from a neutral position, you have a lot more core resistance happening. It's not just your shoulders, it's a lot of core work happening as well. The last we're going to go on to is the shoulders and the neck. So when you look at your shoulders go up, they go down, they go forward, and they go back. The perfect position of the shoulders is somewhere in the middle of that cross. It's not up, it's not right down, it's not forward, it's not even squeezed back. It's just a comfortable, open, smiling shoulders as we call it. So think of your collarbones and think of as much as distance over here. Think of distance from your ears to your shoulders. You don't want your ears going up to your shoulders. You want distance from your ears to your shoulders. And last is your neck position. Imagine you're holding a ripe tomato under your chin. You don't want to squish that tomato. You don't want to drop that tomato. You just want to hold that in position. So when you have your tomato under your chin, your shoulders are open and smiling. Your ribs are over your pelvis. Your pelvis is in neutral. Another way to think of the pelvis in neutral is think of your pelvis like a bowl of water. If I tilt my pelvis in front, the water will fall over. If I tilt my pelvis behind, the water will fall backwards. I want the water to stay in the pelvis. My knees are tracking with my toes and my feet have a good connect with the floor right in the center of my feet under that triangle. Is that easy to understand? Yeah? Great. Okay, so we're just going to do 3 exercises today. So everyone standing, continue standing. We're going to teach one exercise which everyone does every day. You do it at least 20 times in the day, which is a squat, and you don't realize you're doing it. And if you do it right, you'll end up with a far more of a core workout than you normally would. So let me show you how to do a perfect squat. So you're going to stand with your feet parallel. You're thinking of your Pilates principles now. So your feet are connected with the ground under your triangle. You have your knees tracking with your toes. Your pelvis is in neutral, your spine is in neutral. To begin the squat, as you go down, you keep your neutral spine and you connect with your feet to stand up. Now the common mistake people make is we tend to stick our butt out and we tend to overarch our back. That puts a lot of strain on the lower back and makes your core switch off. So keep a neutral spine as you go down and press away with your feet as you stand up. Let's do 10 of these. I'm going to watch you all now. 10 and up, 9 and up, 8 and up slowly, 7. Keep that mild connect with your abdominal muscles. Last 5, up, 4 and up, 3, up, last 2, not bad. Everyone seems to be doing it right. 1, now stay down there, hold. Mishri, can you turn your knees forward so your knees are tracking with your toes? Yeah, perfect. Now stay down over there, and now we're just going to do some heel raises. Lift your heels, lower your heels. Lift your heels and down. 3 and down. 4, down. 5 and down. Last 5 of these. They're also firing from our calf muscles. Having strong calves is very important because a calf forms like the second heart of our body. 3 more of those. Last 2 and last 1. So by adding the calf element, we've served 2 purposes. One is we've challenged your balance. So balance is a super important thing. And the second thing is we work on the calves. And the calves, as I said, is like the second heart of your body because it helps in the reverse blood circulation. When your calf muscles are strong, it's like a pump. Your heart pushes blood down and then it helps in the reverse blood circulation. The next exercise we're going to do is very simple. You're going to be on your hands and knees. So watch me first and then I'll watch you. You're going to find your neutral position over here. So what is the neutral on our hands and knees? Is where my back is not arching down, it's not rounding up, it's parallel to the ground. My neck is long, I'm holding my tomato over here. My pelvis, my headlights are facing down and my knees are under my hips. I'm going to walk my hands a little bit in front of my shoulders and then I'm just going to lift and down. Upper my knees up and down. So we're going to do about 10 of these only. Alright? So everyone on your hands and knees. So the idea of coming onto the hands and knees is you understand a neutral position here as well. Make sure your spine is in neutral so that it's not arched and it's not rounded. Your neck is long, so you're not looking up, you're holding your tomato under your chin. And your knees are under your hips, your toes are curled in. Now from this position, I just want you to hover your knees off the ground as you connect with your palms, lift the knees off the ground and lower down, but you don't have to touch all the way down. So you hover up and come down. Hover and down. 3 and down. 4, down. 5, neck in line with the spine. 6, you're holding a tomato. Don't look at your screen just now. 7, 8, 9. Mustafa, can you keep your hands more in front? 10. Let's do 5 more. Last 5. Neck in line with the spine. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. The last exercise we're going to do is one of my favorites because it's a really relaxing, easy exercise. And the reason I chose this can be done 10 times a day, whenever your body is feeling tight, whenever you need to feel energized, whenever you're feeling stressed, and this works beautifully for me. So you're going to stand, just watch me first again. I'm going to talk you through the exercise and then you'll do it. We're going to stand with our feet parallel. We're standing long and tall and neutral. We're going to start with nodding our chin towards our chest. And we're going to curve our spine all the way down to the ground. As we curve down, we're thinking of getting as much of a C shape with our back as possible. And our gaze is down towards the floor. So the idea of this exercise is it stretches our hamstrings, it stretches our entire spine. And as you come up, you're going to come up one vertebra at a time. You're not going to come up with a straight back. You're going to come up in a rounded spine. So just watch me once. We're standing long and tall.
Nod your chin, curve your spine, scoop the belly in, and then roll down all the way. And then as you come up, you're starting from the lower back and stack up. And then stack up long and tall. Okay, so we'll do it twice with everyone. So we'll stand long and tall. Come into your neutral spine position. You're connecting with your feet. Your knees are tracking with your toes. You have a mild connect with your deep abdominal muscles. Your pelvis is in neutral. So take a deep inhale to prepare. As you exhale, nod your chin towards your chest and start curving your spine from your upper back first, then your middle back, then your lower back, and go all the way down slowly. Take a deep inhale when you write down. And as you exhale, you start stacking your spine one vertebra at a time, starting from your lower back, then your middle back, then your upper back, and at last your head and neck get stacked right on top. Let's do it one more time. You all don't need to look at the screen. Dhruv? All right, ready? Start. Nod your chin, curve your spine, start with your upper back, middle back. Shoulders are relaxed. Feel the gravitational pull pulling you down. You can keep your eyes closed. Get the crown of your head to face down. And when you write down, relax your body. Keep your arms completely loose. Get as much of a C shape. Take a deep inhale as you exhale. Stack your spine up. So this spine right from the base of your neck all the way down to the back of your calves. So it opens up your entire body. And when your body is open, automatically you feel more relaxed. Now we're going to end today with today's challenge, or your more element or what I don't know, but we're going to have Aditya do the next part. So your challenge for the week is going to be a plank challenge. But Nisha came up with this brilliant idea of a plank with singing. So we're going to have a singing plank challenge. So I must warn you, Aditya is a really bad singer. So, but he can do a plank. So you can maybe mute even me talking if you want at this point.
शादी के बाद सबका ऐसा हो जाता है.
All right. So let's get into a plank. So the perfect plank is where your elbows are stacked under your shoulders. Your neck is long. Imagine a string from here pulling you towards the window. You're holding your orange under your chin again. Your spine is in neutral. Your headlights are turned down towards the ground. Yeah. And now start singing.
It's late in the evening. She's wondering what clothes to wear. She puts on her makeup. Okay.
Okay, so as long as you can. So a really good test of your core strength is how long you can do a plank. So of course the plank challenge just now is the plank with the song, but an ideal amount of time to hold a plank is 60 seconds is your base level of core strength. And then from there, you add an arm reach, you can add a leg reach. So there are lots of videos of planks and variations online. But a plank is a really good way to test yourself where you are with your core strength. I'm going to hand it over to Aditya.
Neither can I sing and nor can I do a plank, but I think it's a good time to start. Thanks, Aarti. I enjoyed watching you feeling a little nervous.
Very nervous.
But I think it's so important to focus on the core, whether it's our body, whether it's our mind, or whether it's our life. So I hope keeping in line with the whole idea of the Explorathon, we've been attempting to introduce all of ourselves to the core idea of a few concepts and few approaches. Just the core idea, and then the rest is for you to explore and go and see what other information you can find and what more you can do with it. We would love to see some singing planks coming up on the Facebook group today. It will definitely bring a lot of smiles to many of us. So it'll be fun. That brings this session to the end. We are already on day 12. We have 2 more days to go for the 14-day Explorathon. We have another interesting session coming up tomorrow. And the topic of tomorrow's session is going to be risk. So let's see what we do with that. And thank you, friends, for being here with us today. It feels so nice to see all these faces on our screens. Makes us believe that actually we are all so connected. So stay lit, stay exploring, and keep smiling, and try and make a few other people smile in these times. And we'll see you back tomorrow once again for day 13 of the Explorathon. Thank you. Have a wonderful Sunday. Bye.